Yo, what's up? What's good? It's me. My name is Space Cowboy T. If you like the content, remember, guys, like, share, subscribe. All that shit's very helpful. So today we're talking about cults and just like the how I might have accidentally joined the cult at a very young age. And this video isn't gonna be just about like cults that are popular or like cults that I'm into or something like that. It's just gonna be like cults that I might have like joined. Like not necessarily like that is a good thing. It's not a good thing. Like some of these are really bad people and they did really bad things, but I could kind of see how people like got into it at first. So yeah, let's get into it. So I just want you guys to close your eyes. This picture it's 2008 and it's Midwest Iowa and you're doing nothing. There's nothing really going on. There's nothing at all. Like there's one taco spot, there's one Chinese food spot, and that's it. Everything else, KFC, McDonald's, absolutely nothing going on. It's just you, your homies, and you guys are all playing SmackDown versus Raw 2007, and that's just how it is every day. Um, and yeah, so there's not much going on. So you really can't get into too much in Iowa. It's just very small town vibes, kind of like Gilmore Girls, I guess, in a sense. Not really. It wasn't as cute. It was just more so like cornfields. But let's get into the story. I had a friend. He went to a church, and the church was cool from what it sounded like. He would always talk about it, and then I really wasn't into church. I really wasn't like a church kind of going person. My family was very much into church, and I kind of was like not dragged. I would say drugged. I don't know why. Like, yeah, they would like just take me to to the like just like church, and then they would make me do youth group and all that good stuff. And then I was just tired of it. And then he kept talking about how cool his fucking church was, and I was like, all right, let's go, let's do it. And what really made me want to go to his church is they would offer you like candy if you answered correctly. And I was like, yeah, candy. They don't even offer me anything for answering like going to Sunday school. They just give me a high five or whatever, but they're giving you candy. Yeah, I'm down. Let's go. Let's do it. And that's how they got me. I was got. That was it. And then the way it works, like the way this church works, they would pick up all the kids like Sunday morning, right? Like in like a big blue bus. They would just drive around like Iowa making all these stops and like at all these places. And there were some places they went to, I was like, damn, this is really fucking I thought I had nothing. This is crazy. This is very rural in the middle of nowhere. But anyways, like yeah, they would pick up all these kids and all these kids would go to this big church building, and in this church building like I don't remember the name of this church. I don't. It's not something I cared about. I was only there for the candy. This isn't something I cared about. So if you were like in Iowa from like 2000 to like 2009, you probably know this church. You probably were about it. You probably can explain it more. And but yeah, I only went for a couple months, right? Like for like 3 or 4 months, I was like really into this church because I was just answering all the questions. I was getting the candy, and they would separate the like children and the adults, of course. Like like regular church, the children would be going to like their own classrooms or their own area, and then the adults will go to like this bigger like auditorium kind of thing. And at the end, we would all meet up at the auditorium before we left, kind of thing. Um, but yeah, so I was just doing the regular thing. They would pick me up. I would put on my like little, two piece, whatever, little bun up, some nice shorts, whatever. And then I would answer these questions. I would get candy, and then I got fucking good at this. Like, shout out to my grandma for like forcing me to go to Sunday school all the time. I was fucking answering these questions. I was eating up all this candy. And then after like 3 or 4 months go by, nothing really crazy is happening, right? Just kind of just teaching you about. They're just basically like Jesus freaks, They're very much just very heavily into their own. They had like this own Bible. It wasn't necessarily the same, but like a lot of it was. It just there were like certain things that were different. That was like whatever, We all have our little flavor that we like, but so yeah, I was answering these questions, getting all this candy, and then one day they switched up the candy. Like they switched it up. They started buying like cheaper, like those dollar store fucking candy, like those just hard bubble gums in the wrapper. Like the just the knockoff generic ass candy. And I was like, what the? I'm not doing it for dollar store candy. I want Reese's, Kit Kats, Snickers. This is not what I'm doing this for. This is not why I'm here. And so I just stopped going. Right, they would show up, and then I'd be like, fuck you guys. I'm gonna play some good old Xbox. I'm not going anywhere. This is back when Xbox 360 was killing the game too. I was going crazy. So I was like, nah, I'm just gonna chill out. I'm not going anymore. And I would tell them like, oh no, I'm not coming. And then they would be like, are you sure? Like, you don't you want to come? And I'm like, nah, not really, not really. And then like it would keep like, like ringing the doorbell. They just wouldn't go. And they would like call my mom. They would like call her, and they would like bother us. And it got to the point where Mom was just like, I was like, Mom, can you please just tell us to leave me alone? Like, I don't want to go to this church anymore. And I don't know what she did, but they finally left us alone. But it was like nonstop pestering. Every time I missed like a weekend, nonstop pestering. And then it got to the point where I was just like, I think we moved actually. But yeah, like it was crazy. It was just like very like Jesus heavy. It wasn't like any of these other cults I'm gonna talk about that. Who knows? Maybe now they probably did something. And it actually like got a bunch of people to join the church too. I told all my cousins about it. And since we were like the only Mexicans in Iowa at that time, I had a whole bunch of cousins. We were like the only minority group there. Unless you were like black and you came from Chicago, you weren't in Iowa. Like there's no reason for you to be there. So like I got all my cousins to like join the church just for this free candy. I got some of my friends and their like parents to come. I don't know why they listened to me. And then like we joined, and then we all left around the same time too. Except for like I think my I had like one Asian friend, and I think he still stayed in that church. That shit was crazy though. I was like, get me the fuck out of here. Yeah, that's my story. So yeah, let's get into just like the different cults that I would think were cool, I guess, then that I would possibly get into. Anyway, let's get into it. Number one is the Nubian Nation. I do definitely think that I would have fell for it, but not for like the beliefs. I think the beliefs are crazy. Like the beliefs would have lost me. Like I would have probably left because the beliefs are so fucking crazy. Like there's no getting around it, right? Like they believe that like white people were created by an evil scientist who was getting made fun of because his head was too big. So they think Megamind created white people is basically like what their religion is, one of the bases of the religion, which is insane. I'm all for like Black Power. I'm all for that. I really am. Cannot get behind like white people being an evil science experiment. I just can't. Like at least make it somewhat realistic, right? Just somewhat. They also believe that like Egyptians came to America over the Bering Land Bridge, right? Like over like after the Ice Age or during the Ice Age when the bridge was still intact. They think that Egyptians walked, first of all. They think they walked from Egypt to the Americas and became Native Americans. And that's fucking insane. There's absolute no way they did that. It makes no sense for them to do that either, right? It's crazy. I would have probably, like, all his, like, everything that he was charged with and what he's charged with now, like, spoiler alert, he's in prison. And the cult's actually still around. Like, they're still, like, actively trying to get him out of prison. They're still, like, around, right? So you could still technically join it. I wouldn't, based on what I said before. But you can definitely do it. And what would have got me though, like what I'm trying to say is what would have got me to join them is the like community outreach, it's like the community that they're supporting, because they're from Brooklyn. And they actually did improve like their neighborhood and like the community, and they even got like the mayor of New York to like acknowledge them and be like, yeah, no, you guys are improving your neighborhood, you guys are improving the community, you guys are keeping people off the streets, you guys are like doing all this good stuff. And I would have felt for that, because I am all for that, the same way that I'm like all for like the Black Panthers. Like I feel like I would have been a Black Panther if I really had the choice, if it was really like an option to me. Now they would have lost me on the beliefs, and the leader is a terrible person, so they would have lost me on that as well. But I would say I probably would have been brought back in after seeing them move to Atlanta, and they started like building these Egyptian like buildings and building like pyramids and shit outside of Atlanta. Isn't that fucking crazy? Like imagine you're driving like out of Atlanta and then you just stumble upon fucking pyramids. Crazy. You're just in ancient Egypt. And also like one of their ancient buildings, like one of the Egyptian buildings they were building was a nightclub. It was a nightclub. Could you imagine listening to like Remember the Time by Michael Jackson there? You're like in the music video and I'm all for it. So yeah. So yeah, I think the Nubian nation I would have joined. I would have been a member. And then I would have left. Then I would have came back for the nightclub and the party. And then I would have left again cuz you're fucking insane. And the leader's also into minors. So that's not okay. He could not stop. I think he has like a shit ton of kids and like 50 wives or something like that. And I can't even handle one. You know, I'm not married, but like, could you imagine 50 women at once? What's up, guys? As you can see, this is a hard cut. It's nighttime. I had to go run some errands, but I'm back now. Let's get to it. So yeah, number 2, the Freedomites, also known as the Sons of Freedom. Unnecessarily hard of a name. Sons of Freedom, unnecessarily hard. Like if that was a NASCAR team, I know who I'm rooting for. Like hell yeah, brother. Get her done. John Deere. I don't know. I think it's like the American in me that's like once I hear the word freedom, it just fucking whiplash. I'm there, eagles in the sky kind of thing. But yeah, the Freedomites are actually far away from American as you can be. They're ex-Russians who migrated to Canada to escape like prosecution, because they're actually pacifists and they're anti the government. They're anti the Russian government. And what I think is so cool about them, besides being anti-government, is they just protest. They're like if you're goth, I feel like you would enjoy them because they're like as non-conformist as you can be. Like they're super about non-conformity. They're protesting. They have like marches naked. They take naked marches where they say fuck you to the government. And I think that's cool. I obviously wouldn't be able to join because I'm not Russian. And I don't necessarily know if I'm a pacifist in a way. I think I don't go out there hurting people, but I very much believe like, you know, if someone needs to get punched, they kind of need to get punched kind of thing. But I do enjoy like that pacifist movement. Like if you have the ability to be a pacifist, like you're an amazing person. But I don't have anything really nasty or evil to say. The Freedomites kind of just joined Canada, and then they just, you know, became Canadian. They fled Russia in like the 18th century. And I'm pretty sure if I was alive in the 18th century, I also would be like against Russia. So like I feel like we would have a lot in common, which is why I think I would have joined if I could. Also like naked marches, you know, that seems like fun. We all do like streaking in college for fun anyways. These guys are doing it after. These guys are doing it for protesting the government. Like I think that's cool. Number 3, the Children of God. Now that might sound weird now, right? The Children of God, also known as the Family. I think that's what they call themselves now, the Family. I don't know. Baddies will make you do crazy things. And if you had a baddie, you would understand, you know? Like you would definitely do it. They had this thing in this cult called like flirty fishing. I think that's what it's called or something like that, where they would like send women of the cult to like go out and like meet men and, you know, have TLC matches in the bedroom to encourage them to join. And I feel like that's not really fair. I feel like if you have a baddie telling you to go to church, you would go to church. You know, my last cult, they just gave me candy. Imagine if they gave me a baddie as well. I get it. Now I wouldn't recommend joining the group today because this was during the 70s when there were like free love and stuff. I wouldn't recommend joining today. They have a lot of like abuse, a lot of sexual cases against them. I definitely would not recommend joining it. If you want something like a cool group to join, just join your like local run club. You know, that's what you
That's what you gotta do. I feel like that's probably the better bet in my eyes, at least. So number 4, the People's Temple. Listen, it might look bad now. But if you think about what they were for, like when he first started, right? Like the People's Temple. The People's Temple. Let me just set the stage. The People's Temple started by Jim Jones in the 1960s in Indiana. This is like deep South Jim Crow law, Jim Crow era, and they were all about social justice, racial equality. And even afterwards, even after when they moved from Indiana to like San Francisco, they were still doing good things. They were still doing things like, the group would have like soup kitchens, homeless shelters, medical clinics. Like they were good. Now, knowing what you know now, of course, these good things hid bad things, right? Like these good things were to like hide all the bad shit that they were doing, which is understandable. Understandable. I get it, I get it, but I feel like that's what like fooled a lot of his followers, is that he was all about like social justice, all about racial equality. These are all things we want, especially during like the 60s when it was like, the equal rights movement. I don't know why equal rights movement wasn't coming to mind, but yeah, the equal rights movement. That's like when everything was happening, and I feel like I would if I was in the area, I'd have been like, this guy knows what he's talking about, and that's how they get you. That's how they get you. They're like, hey man, you want equal rights? Yeah, cool. Come check us out. Here's a pamphlet. Come join. We have a session every Sunday and every Saturday morning. You'll like it. And you know what? He's right. I would like rights, equal rights. I think it would be amazing. That's my last one. That's like the last one I'm gonna talk about. Well, I guess before I end, I should say that the reason why the People's Temple is bad is like, they're one, he made all of his they were so bad he made all of his followers drink Kool-Aid that was laced with poison in Africa, in a place called Jonestown that he named after him. He was very authoritarian. Like he was a dictator. He definitely like had all of your like attention in a way. Like he was you weren't gonna do anything else at all. You were gonna listen to what he had to say. You were gonna follow what he told you to do, and that was it, right? Definitely would recommend like not putting them on any type of pedestal, because they are terrible people. Just help out at your local soup kitchen. Just help out at your local homeless shelter. Just help out. And what I'm trying to say is just be good for the community. You don't need to join a group to do it. Just be good for the community, because you never know. You could be joining a cult and not know it. And that's my final thoughts on this. You could be joining a cult and not know it, so be careful. You should be nowhere at all where you're being abused or someone's abusing someone else. I am out. Hopefully you learned more about me as a person and more about cults and how you shouldn't join one, even if they offer you candy and baddies and equal rights. Because you know what? I don't know how to finish this. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying anymore. Don't do it. Goodbye.